Hello students, today I am going to talk about Aristotle's concept of ideal tragic hero. In my previous video, I have discussed in detail his views on character, and we have also discussed the four essentials of character as discussed by Aristotle in Poetics. Those four essentials are must for an ideal tragic hero, ideal tragic protagonist of a tragedy also. And what are those four essentials? I'll repeat. They are goodness, appropriateness, likeness, consistence. We have discussed all these four elements in detail in previous video, and all these four must be there in a tragic hero too. And what else Aristotle demands for an ideal tragic hero? Actually, Aristotle's ideal tragic hero is an intermediate sort of person. Means he is neither too good nor too bad. And in a passage in Poetics which deals with ideal tragic hero, Aristotle says that it follows plainly in the first place that the change of fortune presented must not be the spectacle of a virtuous man brought from prosperity to adversity, nor again that of a bad man passing from adversity to prosperity. This statement shows that Aristotle disqualifies two types of characters. One is purely virtuous, means an ideal tragic hero cannot be purely virtuous fellow. And secondly, he cannot be thoroughly bad character or a villainous character. And in brief, we can say an ideal tragic hero is the person who stands between complete villainy and complete goodness. Now, the term an intermediate sort of person, let's try to understand this term with reference to Aristotle's theory of tragedy as it is explained in the definition of tragedy given in the chapter 6th of his Poetics. As we have earlier discussed that Aristotle pointed out the ultimate aim of tragedy is to arouse pity and fear. So keeping in mind the ultimate aim of the tragedy, the character, the central character, the hero, the protagonist must be designed according to that. So which type of character can arouse pity and fear? That is the point. Only that character can be the ideal tragic hero. So while talking about the character who can arouse pity and fear, Aristotle has referred four categories. The first one, he talks about that if there is a good man coming to bad end, a virtuous man coming to a bad end, so this will not shock, will not just move the audience. It will just shocking thing that, oh, a good man has met a bad end. So just shocking. It will just disturb the faith of the audience. And the secondly, if a bad man is there and he is coming to good end, it will not giving any moral message and will not move the audience, move the spectator at all. And thirdly, if a bad man coming to bad end, there seems a moral message, but it will not move the audience. They feel that it's just natural that a bad man is meeting a bad end. And the fourthly, that is the most important, a rather good man coming to bad end. If a person who has some goodness in him and he meets a bad end, then this situation moves us. This situation arouses pity and fear, and this situation is described by Aristotle as an ideal situation. And this ideal situation happens when that ideal tragic hero is there, a rather good man is there. And talking about the ideal tragic hero in detail, Aristotle explains that a good man, a rather good man, can arouse the feelings of pity and fear Firstly, that person must be from some noble family. He must be some high position. He must be a king or an outstanding figure. Secondly, he talks about that although that person belongs to a distinguished family, a distinguished origin he has, but he has some tragic flaw. Look at the highlighted text in the screen, students. He appears with a tragic flaw, means in the character of the tragic hero there is some flaw, there is some defect, there is some error. We will discuss about this tragic flaw in next slide. And this tragic hero undergoes a reversal of fortune, means a prosperous man, a king, a royal figure, he just falls from high to low. He just meets a bad end, that is to say. That is his downfall. And when he meets his end, he just comes down from his actual position. Then he recognizes his mistake. And when he realizes his mistake, it's too late. And in that very realization of his mistake, there is a purification, there is a cleansing of the emotions of pity and fear. That is called catharsis. That is the main function of tragedy as described by Aristotle in Poetics. We'll talk about catharsis in our next video. That is the function of tragedy. And just to complete this function, the tragic hero must be an intermediate sort of person with a tragic flaw. And what this tragic flaw is? This tragic flaw is mentioned in Poetics as hamartia. Hamartia is the Greek term for tragic flaw. And before talking about hamartia, I will like to draw your attention to one more term, hubris. Means there should be hubris in a tragic hero, and just because of that hubris, that hero meets a bad end. And what this hubris is the excessive pride, excessive overconfidence, which just causes his downfall. Now we'll come to hamartia. What hamartia is? Hamartia is an error of judgment, that is a tragic flaw. Actually, hamartia in tragedy comes not from moral status, but from the inevitability of its consequences. That is to say that a character is there and he has some weakness in his personality. And the incidents are so arranged that that weakness overpowers him and he commits a mistake. And thus, this committing of mistake or this error is inevitable, is compulsory in that arrangement of incidents. And how this error of judgment can happen or can appear, it can be there due to ignorance. For a character, for example, if a character doesn't know anything, here I would like to tell you people that Aristotle talks about one famous Greek tragedy, Oedipus, in his Poetics. So I would suggest you people just to go and read the story of Oedipus. If you will read the story of Oedipus, you will find that it is an ideal tragedy as per the parameters decided by Aristotle in his Poetics. Then the second error of judgment, the error of judgment may arise through some careless view of a given situation. It happens in Shakespeare's Othello, if you have read. Then there is decision taken voluntarily but not deliberately. This type of error of judgment we can see in, I am sure you must have read Shakespeare's King Lear and Hamlet. So this third category of error of judgment is there when King Lear, out of anger, just punishes his daughter Cordelia, and that just causes his downfall. And on the other hand, in Hamlet's habit to be or not to be, that is the question. The procrastination, his indecisive nature just prepares the ground for his tragic fall. So in this way, Aristotle talks about his ideal tragic hero as an intermediate sort of person who meets a bad end just because of hamartia, just because of the error of judgment in his personality, in his life. And why this hamartia is there? This hamartia is there just as it is inevitable as per the demands of the plot of the tragedy. So this is all about the ideal tragic hero of Aristotle. In our next video, we will talk about in detail about catharsis, that is the function of tragedy according to Aristotle. Thank you.